How to Have a Successful First Date, a presentation by Nicole Hansen. Do you have a big date coming up that you're just a little bit nervous about? Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm here with some tips for you to make it the most successful date of your life. First, it's important to remember that your night starts before you even go on your date. Before you go out, you need to make sure that you pick an appropriate outfit. The way that you dress affects the way that other people perceive you. So it's important to remember to dress nicely for your date. This means wear a nice dress, maybe your best shirt, or something like that. But you definitely don't want to wear your worst sweatpants and sweatshirt, because then your date might think that you're not really interested in being there with them. The second tip is once you're on your date, you want to use nonverbal cues to show your date that you're interested in them. This can include touch. You'll want to use love intimacy touch. In other words, showing them any romantic thing like cupping their face, giving them a kiss on the cheek or on the lips even. That will show them that you're interested in them and that you would like to go on another date with them in the future. Another nonverbal cue that you can demonstrate to your partner to show your interest is through personal space. Sharing intimate space is one of the defining factors of close relationships. Intimate space ranges from 0 to 18 inches. Tip number 3 is to make sure that you are a good listener on your date. You should always listen before you speak. While on your date, you should practice listening actively. The first step is to receive. To receive, you need to see and hear the person that you're on your date with. This means that, you need to be listening to the words that they're saying. You also need to observe them as well. This could be observing their nonverbal cues, seeing what their hair or their clothes looks like to get an accurate interpretation of what they're trying to tell you. The second step is to attend. To do this, you need to devote attention to the information that you are receiving. If you don't attend to information, you won't be able to interpret it later or respond in the conversation. Now, to accurately attend, you need to make sure to limit your multitasking. This means that you shouldn't really be taking out your phone during your date. While I know it can be tempting in the world that we're in today and how connected we are to the online world, it also sends a bad nonverbal cue to your partner that you're not really interested in the date that you're on right now. And besides that, you're not going to be able to accurately receive this information, and then later on in the conversation, it's going to be hard for you to keep it going. The third step in listening actively is to understand. To understand, you need to interpret the meaning of what your date is trying to say to you by comparing the information you've just received with information you've already had in the past. Comparing the new information with old information creates understanding. The fourth step in listening actively is responding. This is a time when you're going to show your date that you have been paying attention and you have been understanding what they've been saying. One way you can communicate this is through feedback. On a date, you'll most likely want to give positive feedback. This means that you will look directly at the person speaking, smile, position your body so that you're facing them, and lean forward. You may also use back-channel cues. This will communicate that you are in agreement with what they are saying. You can say things like, yes, and that makes sense. This signals that you've paid attention and that you understand specific things that they've said to you. You can also use paraphrasing, which is repeating back some of what they've said to you to show that you are listening. And if sometimes you simply don't understand, it's always okay to ask them to clarify. Feedback, paraphrasing, and clarifying make up the responding step of listening actively. The final step is to recall. To recall, you need to put together everything you've done so far to remember the information that you learned from your date today. This will be impressive if you get to go on a second date with them and you can show that you were listening on the first date and you do remember the things that they told you. All these 5 steps together make up the process of listening actively. Now that you know how to listen actively, there are also a couple of types of listening that you'll want to avoid. One of those types of listening is pseudo-listening. This is pretending to listen, but you're not really listening. This is bad to do because if they find out that you're doing that, they're going to think that you're not very interested in them. Another one is selective listening. This is when you only listen to parts of what they're saying, but not the whole thing. This could bite you later on because if it comes up again in conversation, you won't be able to demonstrate that you were really listening to what they were saying. It is always best to choose active listening over any of these listening types. My final piece of advice for you is to just have fun. While dating can cause some anxiety, at the end of the night, it should be about having a good time and enjoying yourself. This concludes my tips on how to have a successful date. Thank you for listening to my presentation.